let's move on to the next ground under extended ultra vires. Okay, under extended ultra vires, first we are going to look into the mala fide grounds. Okay, what is mean by mala fide? Mala fide means a bad faith, meaning that you have a corrupt motive, bad intention, okay, or the decisions is made based on the personal animosity, based on malice, okay, dendam. Okay, for example, you may refer to the case of Sadanandan against state of Kerala. Okay, so let me explain to you what happened in this case. An order of preventive detention made against the applicant was held to be invalid after the applicant, a crossing dealer, succeeded in proving that the report made against him was false. Okay, so the applicant challenge, okay, for court review, and he stated that he proved to the court that, okay, the report was made with a view of eliminating him from the wholesale kerosene trade. Okay, so the purpose is to give benefit to the officer's relative by obtaining the kerosene distributorship. So the court held that the officer had acted mala fide. In this case, the officer himself have a bad intention against the kerosene dealer, okay, and he imposed such decisions, okay, in order to give advantage or benefit to his own relative. Okay, so the detaining authority had passed the order on his reports without itself examining the materials against the dealer carefully, and the order was reiterated as it was mala fide. So the order given by the authority is considered as ultra vires, therefore null and void. Okay, now let's move on to the second ground. Fail to consider relevant consideration and or taking irrelevant consideration. Okay, public authority, when they making decision, they must consider all matters relevant to the decision to be made. Okay, so they have to consider the reason why they have to make such decision. Okay, they must consider the relevant matters and they must ignore the irrelevant matters. But what happen if, okay, if the public authority, okay, fail to take the relevant matters when they make a decision? So the decision made by them considered as ultra vires and void. Okay, what is mean by relevant matters? Okay, relevant matters are those expressly referred to in the legislation or which may arise by implication from the subject matter, scope and purpose of the legislation. Okay, so we may refer to the Parent Act. Okay, why the Parent Act impose the power of making decision to this public authority. If the legislation does not specify any relevant consideration and leave the discretionary power largely unconfined, then the decision maker may determine what matters are relevant and the comparative importance of them. So who will determine whether the factors is to be relevant or irrelevant? Yes, okay. So this discretionary power is given to the public authority to determine that factors. Okay. For example, as you may refer to the case of Regina against Somerset County Council ex parte Fairings, considerations that are relevant to a public authority's decision can be categorized into two kinds. Okay, first is mandatory relevant consideration. That is consideration identified by the statute empowering the authority either expressly or impliedly. Okay, mandatory relevant consideration means that it must be followed by the public authority because, okay, these considerations, okay, were laid down in the Parent Act. Okay, the second type is discretionary relevant consideration, those which the authority may consider if it regards them as appropriate. May consider meaning that this is not mandatory to be considered by the public authority. So if they fail to consider, then the decision made by them still considered as valid. Okay, understand? Hopefully that you guys understand, right? Okay, example of case under this ground is, we have one case, Tan get new JC against Minister for Finance. Okay, so this is the Singapore case. So the applicant had registered a clothing business called JC Penny Collections. Okay, so we need to determine whether this registered trademark, okay, considered by the public authority here is ultra bias. Okay, 3 years later, she was ordered by the registrar of business to alter her business name to one that did not mention JC Penny. In other words, she must remove the words JC Penny on the grounds that the name was that of an American company, JC Penny Company Incorporation, which had registered 2 pennies trademarks in Singapore. Okay, so the registrar argued that, okay, JC Penny Collection ni sama dengan trademark yang ada dekat American company, okay, JC Penny. Okay, and then the registrar relied on Section 11 of the Business Registration Act, which stated that registrar was entitled to cancel the registration of a business name that so nearly resembles the name of any corporation or the name under which another person carries on business as to be calculated to mislead. In other words, okay, this parent act give power to the registrar to cancel any business name that so nearly resembles. Maksudnya dia ada rights untuk cancel. In other words, okay, the registrar can exercise discretionary power in order to cancel the business name if the business name is nearly resemble with other business name. Okay, so the court noted that the registrar had placed much reliance on the trademarks registered by JC Penny but had failed to consider the following facts. Okay, based on this case, there are 3 grounds that failed to be considered by the registrar, okay, i.e. the public authority in this case. Sorry. Okay, first, JC Penny had not used the trademarks on any goods in Singapore. Okay, meaning that this business name has not used the trademark on any goods. So dalam Singapore tak ada pun any goods related to JC Penny. Second, the registration of the trademarks had expired and did not appear to have been renewed. Okay, so the previous trademark had expired. Maksudnya dah expired and then belum ada renewals, okay, from the owner. And the third ground is the applicant herself had not used JC Penny or pennies as a trademark on any item she. So maksudnya dia tak guna single trademark JC Penny or pennies, tapi dia propose to use JC Penny Collections. Okay, so by ordering the applicant to change her business name, the registrar had accorded to JC Penny more rights than it was entitled to under the law relating to trademark infringement and the thought of passing off. So what we can conclude from this case is that the decision made by the registrar of business here considered as invalid decision because the registrar has put so much reliance on the irrelevant grounds, okay, because he failed to consider the relevant grounds in making decisions. Okay. Okay, so let's take a break and then we continue with the third grounds. Thank you.